Here are the directions for lesson 13-1. Excuse me. Guided practice. It says, look at the object. Circle the attributes you could measure. So, by looking at that pencil, in number 2, would you measure that pencil? Could you measure the capacity of the pencil, the length of the pencil, or the weight of the pencil? And what you should be thinking is you can measure the length, because remember, length means how long an object is, and you could weigh the pencil to see how much it weighs. Okay, and capacity would not fit for the pencil because capacity is how much something holds. All right, moving on to number 3. There is a book there, like your reading book. Can you measure the capacity, the length, or the weight? And what you should be thinking is you can measure the length because you can measure how long it is, and the weight, how much does it weigh? And again, you can't measure the capacity of the book because you can't see how much it holds. Number 4, you have a jar there, a clear jar. Can you measure the capacity, the length, or the weight? Well, you should be thinking you can measure the capacity because you could measure how much that glass jar can hold. You can measure the length to see how long it is. And you could also see how much it weighs. So that one for the glass jar would be all 3. Capacity, length, and weight. Do you understand? Look at the objects above. Explain which 2 objects would best measure capacity. So by looking at number 1, the red bucket, number 2, the pencil, number 3, the book, and number 4, the glass jar, which 2 objects would best measure capacity? And remember, we said capacity is how much something holds. Okay, so the 2 objects that would best measure capacity would have to have capacity circled. So it would be the bucket. So you will write the bucket on your paper, and the jar, the glass jar. And again, I'll have to go off the paper because I don't have enough room. And the jar. Okay? Those are the 2 objects that would best measure capacity, the bucket and the jar. Okay? Let's take a look at... Okay. I had to click back to the first slide. Hopefully this worked for you. But I wanted to show you, here is length. Okay? And length says how long an object is. So if you forget what those vocab words mean as you're going through this paper, make sure you look at the top of your visual learning bridge on your paper to see what they mean, okay? All right. Practice. Independent practice. Again, circle the attributes that could be used to measure both objects. Okay? So in number 5, you have to think, can you measure the capacity for the hat and the stapler? Could you measure the length of the hat and the stapler? And can you measure the weight of the hat and stapler? Now, remember, at the top of your paper is where your visual learning bridge is, okay? I'm going to click back to my slide 2 and show you something. And then you will see at the top of your paper here where it has weight. Okay, for weight it says how heavy an object is, and then capacity is the amount a container can hold. So if you forget what those 3 words mean, please look at your visual learning bridge. So again, on number 5, the hat and the stapler, circle the attributes that you could use to measure those items. Number 6, you have a bowling ball and a mixing bowl. Number 7, you have a cup and a bucket. And number 8, you have a couch or a chair, and a scarf. Okay? And again, you may be circling more than one attribute for each one, okay? That they would both fit. All right, looking at number 9. Draw a line to match each shape to its attribute. So what you'll do here is you will draw a line from heavy to which object is heavy. Draw a line from heavier to which object is heavier, and then draw a line to which object is heaviest, and which object would be the heaviest out of those 3. Okay? All right, let's take a look at the back. On the back, problem solving. Use the problems, or solve the problems below. Lisa makes a scarf. What attribute can Lisa measure? So you'd have to look back on page 380 and 381 at the attributes, and remember they were length, length, weight, or capacity. Okay, so by looking at those 3 words, you have to pick which 2 attributes could Lisa use to measure her scarf pictured in number 10. Complete the sentence to compare an attribute. The scarf is longer than a blank. So you would have to think of an object that the scarf would be longer than. Number 11. Troy is making fruit punch. He needs to find out how much punch the bowl can hold. Which tool should he use? If he's trying to, figure out how much punch would fit in that bowl, would he use blocks, a scale, a penny, or a measuring cup? Okay? And number 12 for journal. List 2 of your favorite toys. Write the attributes you can measure for each toy. Then write a sentence to compare an attribute. So, on number 12, think of 2 toys, 2 of your favorite toys, okay? So you would write on the lines 2 of your favorite toys. Say one is a marble, and maybe one is a Lego. Write the attributes you could use to measure each toy. So if I had a marble and a Lego, I could use length for both of them as well as weight. I wouldn't necessarily use capacity because I can't see how much each object holds because it's not a container. So that is what you need to do for number 12. And then write a sentence to compare the 2 attributes. For example, with my marble and my Lego, I could say my marble is or weighs the same as the Lego, weighs just as much as the Lego. That would be a sentence that would compare the 2 objects and their attribute in weight. Okay? If you have any questions, please make sure you ask, and I will be glad to help you since this is our first lesson in measurement with length, weight, and capacity. Okay? All right, when you are finished, please put it on the yellow table, and I will check it over, and you can put it in your mailbox. Okay? Thank you.